Hello, everybody. Hi there. Welcome to the stream. It's me, your friend Adam. Hi. How's it going? How's it going, everybody? Can you hear me all right? Am I coming through fine on the old stream on my phone? How's it going, Agile Yeti? How's it going, Arc Strider? How's it going, KT Gremlin Teeth? How's it going, Rimrick Zero? How's it going, KT Gremlin? I already said KT Gremlin Teeth. How's it going, Bake? Thank you for the cheer, buddy. How's it going, Osmosis 9? Hi there. Hi there. Hello, Zandagoop. Hello, Confused Laughter. Hello, Abby or Nothing. Hello, Uncivilized Dengue. Hello, Kjupe. Hello, Zandagoop. Hello, Princess Rose. Hello, Geeky Girl. You're buffering, but I'm in a big stone library, so that might be me. I think it might be you because I'm not getting any dropped frame warnings over here. Hello, Lovejoy. Hello, T-Dragon45. Hello, Melody Lunabish. Hello, TM-Babe13. Hello, Gamer Brony72. Hello, Hey Sun and Moon. Hello, Eurus Zephyrus. Hello, Uncivilized Engel. Engie, Uncivilized Engie. Hi there, hi there, hi there. How's everybody doing today? We feeling all right? Having a good time? Prop 22 passing is one of the stupidest things of 2020. I absolutely agree. Cannot argue with you at all on that. How's it going? There's Lettuce. How's it going, Chelsea Blythe? Today we're going to learn about, for those of you joining, hello. My name is Adam Conover. I'm a comedian. I'm a television host. I do stream here on Twitch. And I'm streaming a little bit more on a schedule now than I used to. Every Monday at 3 p.m. we do a learning stream. Every Tuesday at 5 p.m. we do another learning stream. Every Thursday at 5 p.m. we do a stand-up comedy stream. We've got stand-up comedians around. We had Jamie Loftus on. We had Atsuko Okatska. I know how to say it. We had her on. Incredibly funny show. You can go check that out in the VODs. Yeah, so also, by the way, one of my new things is I am on TikTok now. Okay? A lot of people have been asking, Adam, when are you going to get on TikTok? I'm there. It's happening, okay? And let me tell you something. I'm very popular. People like me on there. I'm killing it on TikTok. Instantly viral. The algorithm is my friend on there, okay? The Zoomers love Conover. Indeed, KT Gremlin Teeth. You were watching some of my stand-up from like 2009. Oh, that shit's still on YouTube? Maybe I should take some of that down. 2009? Man, really? There's a clip up from 2009? That seems like too long ago. But so I'm taking requests on TikTok for things to ruin. I'm doing a little 1-minute ruins on TikTok. I got a request for someone to do the organization Autism Speaks. Now, I want to be very clear about something in this stream. I'm not autistic. I do have attention deficit disorder, or that's what I was prescribed with as a kid. I've always been unclear at how much I should still consider myself to have attention deficit disorder. I don't think about it very often anymore. Definitely as a kid, I was told I had it. It really shaped a lot of my childhood, my young adulthood. I was medicated for many years for it. No longer medicated for it, and happier for that. But ADHD king. Yes, thank you very much, dildos. I say ADD because when I was prescribed with ADD, there was no ADHD yet. They added the H in later, like a couple years after I was diagnosed. And ever since, I was always like, what's this H? I don't relate to the H. I'm ADD. Where's this H coming from? I'm not hyperactive. I know that they use the H now. But neurodivergent fam. We love our neurodivergent fam. Adderall helped me to a degree in college. It helped me focus on a lot of my studies to the degree that I wanted to, Like I was taking German classes, and it really helped me focus and study on German. But it also made me hyper-focus on certain things. For instance, video games would make me hyper-focus on video games, or like crossword puzzles, things like that. I would be unable to stop doing them and do my actual work because they like hit my reward centers better. And then eventually Adderall started. I had trouble going to sleep, and so I would drink a lot in order to help myself go to sleep. And I also was smoking, and it was really unhealthy. I looked like shit. I felt like shit, and the first thing I had to do to stop feeling like shit was quit Adderall. So that's the reason I quit. And I'm happier now. And now I barely do caffeine. I switch from coffee to black tea even, and I feel better about that. So Adderall, I think Adderall helped a lot of people in college. Well, that's the thing about Adderall, is that unlike most medications, it doesn't just treat you if you have a particular disorder. Adderall will make anybody feel a little better. You know what I mean? It's like Popeye spinach. You like take that shit and you're like, woo, I feel amazing. I'm gonna sweep my fucking floor. I used to sweep my floor at like 2 a.m. Very classic. Because Adderall is just amphetamines. That's all that it is. That's all that it is. And so a lot of people, I know people in adulthood who are like, oh man, I have trouble getting stuff done. And I went to a psychiatrist and they said, maybe I have ADD, and they prescribed me Adderall, and it really makes me focus harder. So I think I really do have ADD. And I'm like, no, I think you took amphetamines is what you did. You might not have ADD. ADD is the jury's kind of out, even if it even fucking exists to a certain degree, you know? It's a very strange disorder, and I actually am really curious if it's still as diagnosed as it was when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, it was like a fad to diagnose people with it, you know? Yeah, I quit. Geeky Girl 15 says, I quit because it's crazy addictive and side effects, and missing a day can really fuck you up. Yeah, if I missed a day, it would be like not having coffee, where I would just fall asleep on that day. I could barely stay awake. It's not low-grade crack. I would describe it more as low-grade meth because it's amphetamines, and methamphetamine is just a stronger version. You know what I mean? You're a special education teacher. A lot of your kids are diagnosed with it. Yo, what's up, Nicholas12478? Man, now look at the viewership we got here. I do my stand-up stream, we get like 150 people. Immediately, I start the learning stream, we got 220. People dig the learning stream. That's what you guys are all about, I guess, huh? That's what y'all love. Adderall is to meth as Pepsi is to Coca-Cola. I don't think that's true. I think Adderall is to meth as Pepsi is to espresso, if that makes sense. You love learning. I'm not judging you for learning the vehemently or the morgue page. Okay? Yeah, Adderall is necessary but scary. I still have conflicted feelings about it myself. I'm not so super sure. So here's the thing. So people requested on TikTok that I do a ruin about Autism Speaks, the organization. I've heard this one before. I don't know a lot about it. I am not autistic. I don't have close friends who are autistic, to be honest. I've not researched the topic before. So this is a classic. Let's learn about. What we do on the stream is I learn about something I do not know that much about, and we'll all learn about it together. And we're just going to do some reading. I got about an hour and 15 minutes before I got to split. We got to get out of here at 4:30. TJ Rain says, Autism Speaks hurts us. Can you suggest starting with a Rational Wiki article on Autism Speaks? I'll check that out, but first I'm going to check out the Wikipedia article on Autism Speaks. Let's pop open our learning stream window here. Oh, and I got to change this. And let's get a little pad open here. What was it? Etherpad. Got a nice little Etherpad going. Let's just use MIT's Etherpad. All right. Just to have a little thing to type in here. Can we zoom in on this? There we go. All right. We used some other thing for this last time, but I forgot what it was. All right. So let's do a little learning. Autism Speaks. Let's get a little music going in the background too.
The galis.
We got some chatting. That's not what we need. I know. Let's do Jen Monroe. Listen to this. She's got these great mixes. Got a little mix going in the background here. K-pop special. Let's see what this sounds like.
RTS.
Okay. Autism Speaks. Here we go. We're going to learn about it. The largest autism advocacy organization in the United States sponsors autism research and conducts awareness and outreach aimed at families, governments, and the public. It was founded in February 25 by Bob Wright, Vice Chairman at General Electric, and his wife, Suzanne. Okay, so we got some rich folks starting this organization here. I turned the music down. I'll turn it down a little more. There we go. I'm hopeful that this stuff won't be copyright flagged because this is like Jen Monroe's personal mix she made here. The autism rights movement. Okay. Autism Speaks has been the focus of controversy. Over 60 disability rights organizations have condemned the organization for failing to represent autistic people and for exploitative practices. It's right in the second paragraph. So on Wikipedia, that's a big deal here. See autism as a difference rather than a disease that needs to be cured, and have criticized Autism Speaks for seeking a cure. In response, former President Liz Fowler stated that 1/3 of people with autism have a seizure disorder, half suffer digestive complications, 50% wander, and more than 30% are nonverbal. Claiming these difficulties can only be solved through medical research. However, the word cure was dropped from his mission statement in 2016. Interesting. As an autistic person, the music is incredibly distracting. Okay, I'll turn the music off. That's fine. Thought it'd be nice to have a little nice background music, but that's fine. Sorry, I didn't think about that. And by the way, please forgive me about my ignorance about autism. It's not something that I know a lot about. It's something I'd like to learn about. Actually, let's start out by reading the article on autism. Extremely complex diagnosis. An autistic culture is developed with some individuals seeking a cure and others believing autism should be accepted as a difference to be accommodated instead of cured. Autism rights movement. Tyrone Dokuru says, hey, Adam, don't sweat it. I'm really happy to see people without autism give a shit about doing autism right. Appreciate that. Appreciate you too, Nerd Words. I should call it the research stream, not the learning stream, right? Hey, thank you, the Scarlet Derby. Appreciate that. Thank you for the cheer. TJ Rain says, we don't need to be cured. We need to be respected and understood and accommodated. You're so interested to get a window into my research process. A lot of it is reading Wikipedia, but then I go look at the follow-ups too. You know what I mean? I go look at the other sources. Yeah, but learning stream is a little, I don't like the phrase. Research stream sounds better. Everyone with autism is different. It isn't a linear spectrum. There's no such thing as mild or severe autism, despite people using it. Oh, our spectrum is more like a circle with different strengths and weaknesses. That's interesting. Dildo says, my autism makes me the funniest human being on earth, so I would not get rid of it. That's cool. You know, there's an autistic sketch comedy group. What are they called? I've seen their stuff. Asperger's Are Us. Yeah. Oh my God, their site is on GeoCities. These guys are funny. Okay. Autistic rights or neurodiversity advocates believe that the autism spectrum should be accepted as a natural expression of the human genome and accommodated like any other condition. The social model of disability. Oh, that's interesting. The perspective is distinct from two other views. The medical perspective that autism is caused by genetic defects should be addressed by targeting the autism genes, and fringe theories that autism is caused by environmental factors such as vaccines. So leaving apart these folks, the two ideas are that the medical perspective that autism is caused by a genetic defect, as in something you would want to fix, and that the autism spectrum should be accepted as a natural expression of the human genome. Social model of disability identifies systemic barriers, derogatory attitudes, and social exclusion, intentional or inadvertent, which makes it difficult or impossible with impairments to attend their valued functionings. Social model of disability diverges from the dominant medical model of disability, which is a functional analysis of the body as a machine to be fixed in order to conform with normative values. Yeah, while physical, sensory, intellectual... While physical, sensory, intellectual, or psychological variations may cause individual functional limitation or impairments, they do not necessarily have to lead to disability unless society fails to take account of and include people regardless of their individual differences. Yeah. So, this is something that I've never had a phrase for, but this is a really useful point. That disability need not be something which literally disables you in society unless we force it to be through social functions. Like the idea that, you know, the simplest, most obvious form of disability that people are familiar with, being in a wheelchair, the medical model of disability would say we need to solve that because the body is a machine that needs to be fixed in order to conform with normative values such as walking around on two legs, versus the social model, which identifies systemic barriers and social exclusion, which make it difficult or impossible for individuals with impairments to achieve their valued functioning. So, for instance, if everything in our society was built in such a way, if we had curb cuts and we had, you know, accessible entrances for folks in wheelchairs, and if we got rid of our attitudes, we'd in fact remove the discriminatory factors that make being in a wheelchair a disability, that it literally removes abilities from you. But those abilities are only removed from you because they're not being provided by the society around you. So if instead we accommodate the difference of people who are not able to move their legs, then those folks, there's no reason that they can't have a completely functional, able life. Do I have this about right? It's like glasses. They're not really considered a disability because they're accessible and accommodated for, while wheelchairs and the like aren't. That's a really good comparison, TM Babe. Yeah. Like, I have very poor eyesight in my left eye. I have very poor depth perception. And that's a disability in some ways. I'm less comfortable driving than most people, which is one of the reasons I don't. I'm bad with catching a ball in the air and stuff like that. But I can move about society. I'm not disabled in my vision isn't so... My vision impairment isn't so severe that I'm disabled, but also the society has like created a tool that allows me to participate. Yes, this is really cool. The social model of disability. I really like that. Okay, so the autism rights movement believes that the autism spectrum should be accepted as a natural expression of the human genome and accommodated like any other condition, the social model of disability. Yeah. So, neurodiversity paradigm. This is under controversies in autism. Neurodiversity is the neurodiversity paradigm is a view of autism as a different way of being rather than as a disease or disorder that must be cured. Autistic people are considered to have neurocognitive... Here, do I need to scale this up a little bit? Is that better? Autistic people are considered to have neurocognitive differences which give them distinct strengths and weaknesses and are capable of succeeding when appropriately accommodated and supported. Efforts to eliminate autism should not be compared, for example, to curing cancer, but but instead to the antiquated notion of curing left-handedness. There's no leader of the neurodiversity. Okay. So now here's the question. I, again, don't know much about autism. It strikes me that the neurodiversity paradigm, what I would, I don't want to say the wrong thing here. I want to make sure I get this right. But one thing is that the idea of the social model of disability as applied to autism, and the autism rights movement, is we can do that whether or not we fully embrace the idea of neurodiversity. And I want to be clear about something. I am really drawn to the thesis of the neurodiversity movement, of the neurodiversity paradigm. It makes a lot of sense to me, but I can imagine a lot of other people might have trouble being convinced, right? And they might say, hold on a second, isn't there some versions of autism, variations of autism that really are difficult for people, that really do cause disadvantages that we might want to ameliorate, that aren't simply, I can imagine some people saying the strengths and weaknesses thing. Is that really the case, or are there some folks who are really, only suffering because of autism? And here's the thing I want to point out. Whether or not you agree with those folks or not, the idea of the social model of disability still applies. You can still say, well, we don't need to treat these folks as we got to cure them or do nothing else. We can treat this as, again, a natural expression of the human genome and accommodate it like any other condition. So I find those two ideas linked, but not necessarily on top of each other. Yes, I'm starting with Wikipedia to get a brief understanding of the basics before delving deeper. This is really fascinating stuff already. This is a really, really interesting one. Okay, yes. Thank you. Who said this? It's my Hugbear. The social model of disability applies no matter how people feel about their disability. Absolutely. And I want to draw the comparison to my own attention deficit disorder, because sometimes I feel, hey, this is just a difference. I had a different way of behaving as a kid. I had a different way of interacting with the information, and I was shut down by my teachers and parents who said, you're wrong and we need to medicate you, when what they really should have done was embrace my different strengths. Sometimes I feel that way. And other times I feel, you know what? It really got in my way. Like, there were times in my life where there was something I wanted to do. I remember being in college and I wanted to study so hard. I wanted to read these books. I wanted to read the whole book. I wanted to read all of Kant, in my philosophy class. And I couldn't do it. I remember trying to focus on one thing for as long as I could, and going out and I would go out in the fucking woods with my book to a weird little tree house platform we had at my college, and just read out in the woods and try to just do nothing but read. And I was unable to do it. It was like my mind, I remember I felt like it was like a fist. Like when you wake up in the morning and your hand isn't quite strong enough and you try to grab something, you kind of can't grab it all the way and it just naturally releases. That's how my brain felt. And when I took medication as a young adult in my 19 or 20, I was able to do things that I wanted to do. So with my own attention deficit disorder, I don't know if I agree with a neurodiversity paradigm for my own attention deficit disorder or not. I'm unsure about it. I think other people might feel similarly ambivalent about autism. But and if someone says, no, the neurodiversity model works for me, that's great. And I would never argue with you. I think that's a beautiful thing. But the point I'm making is that the social model of disability works regardless of whether or not how someone feels about their own autism, if that makes sense. Man, the scroll is going by so fast. Reading is so hard with ADHD. I know, but you can do it. I mean, something that helps me, audiobooks really help me out. Shout out to being called a smart, dumb child by my 6th grade teacher. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I've been there. Oh, my gosh. My little geekery said, I always found it easier to focus with background sounds like a TV or radio because that oddly helped me focus on that thing. The problem is that everyone told me I was studying wrong that way. Yeah, that's the problem. Audiobooks can be helpful. I don't always focus that well with audiobooks, but it can be a way for me to get the information in. Xandagoop says, honestly, Adam, your content is a big reason I'm able to consume info about lots of the stuff you talk about. My ADHD makes watching and listening much easier than reading, so thank you for that. Your podcast, stream, and show taught me heaps I wouldn't have otherwise been able to learn. Xandagoop, I do want to say, don't count yourself out, though. Don't count yourself out. Don't have a self-limiting belief, you know? Don't tell, like, if you find it easier, go ahead and do it. But I still hope that you are able to use my work to draw you to some reading, because there are wonderful things. Just think of reading as a different modality that you benefit from as well. Not the only modality, but a modality that has its own strengths and weaknesses that you can take advantage of in your own time and space. And I think that might help you out. I really just, I don't want people to, I don't want people to, you know, limit themselves too much. I really appreciate everyone for joining me here. Okay, let's look at autism. Autism is associated with a combination of different genetic and environmental factors. Risk factors include certain infections. The vaccine hypothesis has been disproven. The diagnostics of mental disorders. The autistic culture has developed with some individuals seeking a cure, others believing autism should be accepted as a difference to be accommodated rather than cured. 24.8 million people. That's a lot of people. Number of people has increased dramatically since the 1960s, maybe partly due to changes in diagnostic practice. Yep. Characteristics. Highly variable neurodevelopmental disorder. May be severely impaired in some respects, but average or even superior in others. Is distinguished by a characteristic triad of symptoms: impairments in social interaction, impairments in communication, repetitive behavior. Okay, let's learn more about Autism Speaks. History. Since its founding, it's merged with 3 existing organizations, raising millions of dollars for autism research. This is a weird sentence. Autism Speaks has used the Wubsy character from Wow Wow Wubsy as a mascot. An educational flash animation series by Bob Boyle. Never heard of this. Autism Speaks is an autism organization that, along with its predecessor organizations, has been a source of funding for research into the causes and treatment of autism disorders. Here, let me put this over here. Research in etiology, biology, diagnosis, autism therapies, autism genetic resource exchange DNA repository, autism tissue, clinical trials network. Okay. Vaccines, partner with Google on a project called Missing, previously known as the Autism Speaks 10,000 Genomes Project. Okay, medical. The Walk for Autism Research Program and conducts an autism. Okay, they've been doing a lot of ads to the Ad Council, big nonprofit thing. What is the Ad Council, by the way? American nonprofit organization that produces, distributes, and promotes public service announcements. It's just a nonprofit. I always sort of thought it was part of the government, but Just a massive nonprofit ad thing. Okay. Light it up blue. Initiative is generally associated with Autism Speaks. In 2011, the White House said it would not light up blue in honor of World Autism Awareness Day. But in 2017, Donald Trump fulfilled a promise to Suzanne Wright by lighting the White House in blue. Hey, you just got your PhD funded. Good for you, Blue Pigeons. Kiefer, I'm only going to be streaming for another hour, unfortunately. Autism Speaks through a series of mergers of combined organizations. Okay, so this is blah, 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 blah. Controversies. View of autism as a disease. Autism Speaks as advocacy. This is the juicy shit. Here we go. Has been based on a medical mainstream as autism as a disease. This disease has taken our children away. It's time to get them back. This is a view that many, but not all autism scientists would endorse. Okay. In contrast, some autism activists have promoted the idea of neurodiversity in the social model of disability, asserting that people with autism are different but not diseased. They challenge how we conceptualize such medical conditions. 2008, autistic blogger, upset with the portrayal of autism at Autism Speaks website, Getting the Word Out, created a critical parody called Getting the Truth Out. Wow, created by Alfonso Cuarón, the director. Wow. I am autism. Should we watch this video? This negative video? Do you guys want to watch it? I have not seen it. Whoa, thank you for the cheer, Blue Pigeons. Oh my God, giant cheer from Blue Pigeons. Oh my gosh, and Blue Pigeons has gifted a whole bunch of people subs. Thank you so much, Blue Pigeons. Very kind of you. Let's do it. All right. I don't have a visible content warning, but consider this your content warning.
I am autism. I'm visible in your children, but if I can help it, I am invisible to you until it's too late. I know where you live, and guess what? I live there too. I hover around all of you. I know no color barrier, no religion, no morality, no currency. I speak your language fluently, and with every voice I take away, I acquire yet another language.
This is really
I work
scary.
very quickly. I work faster than pediatric AIDS, cancer, and diabetes combined. And if...
All right, I would have to argue that autism is not super comparable to cancer and pediatric AIDS. Is this thing fucking kidding?
If you are happily married, I will make sure that your marriage fails.
What? If you're happily married, I'll make sure that your marriage fails? But it's only showed us pictures of kids. Is it like having an autistic kid is going to make your marriage fail?
Your money will fall into my hands, and I will bankrupt you for my own self-gain. I don't sleep.
Autism will bankrupt you for its own self-gain. What does that mean?
So I make sure you don't either. I will make it virtually impossible for your family to easily attend a temple, a birthday party, a public park, without a struggle, without embarrassment, without pain.
Well, that's giving away the game right there, right? So the narrative here that I'm gathering, and it's borne out by this video, is that this organization was created by frightened parents of autistic children who are, want their kid to be fixed. And, of course, those kids would be embarrassed when they go to a public park with their autistic child, right? Is that what's going on here? Wow, this is 14K dislikes. I'll dislike it, sure.
You have no cure for me. Your scientists don't have the resources, and I relish their desperation. Your neighbors are happier to pretend that I don't exist. Of course, until it's their child. I am autism. I have no interest in right or wrong. I derive great
Are we
pleasure
supposed to think
out
that
of your
something's wrong with these
loneliness.
kids?
I will fight to take away your hope. I will plot to rob you of your children and your dreams. I will make sure that every day you wake up, you will cry, wondering who will take care of my child after I die. And the truth is, I am still winning, and you are scared. And you should be. I am autism. You ignored me. That was a mistake.
This is still going.
And to autism I say,
I am a father,
a mother,
a grandparent,
brother.
a sister.
We will spend every waking hour trying to weaken you.
We don't need sleep because we will not rest until you do.
Family can be much stronger than autism ever anticipated, and we will not be intimidated by you, nor will the love and strength of my community.
I am a parent riding towards you, and you can push me off this horse time and time again, but I will get up, climb back on, and ride on with the message.
Autism, you forget who we are. You forget who you are dealing with. You forget the spirit of mothers and daughters.
Well, yeah, it's pretty, yeah. Yeah, this is pretty fucking vile. You know, you want to give it to, you want to assume people's best intentions, but like, okay, so I think the comparisons that we'd want to draw here, if you made a video like this about cancer, fine. You know, nobody's like, yeah, cancer's great. or I like it, or cancer's not hurting me that much, you know. But even if this was about breast cancer, I would say maybe this is too strong or prostate cancer, because breast and prostate cancer are two cancers that are like, you know, very routine and kill people less often than they used to because we have better treatments. My mom had breast cancer. It was very frightening, but she's luckily, you know, seems to be doing well now. And, you know, we don't want to stigmatize those diseases, right? But autism definitely isn't like cancer. And this is drawing a direct comparison between cancer, pediatric AIDS, and autism. Horrific comparison to draw. So what if we compared this to, like, autism is, at worst, again, we've talked about the neurodivergence paradigm. And we talked about how, you know, even among autistic folks, maybe not everybody would agree with it, right? And by the way, I the only reason I'm hedging is because I don't want to dive deep into neurodivergence on this particular research stream because we only have 45 minutes left. But regardless of what you think of that, at the worst, we're talking about a disability, right? That we should accommodate through the social model of disability. And if you were to make a video like this about any other disability, about blindness, about deafness, about being in a wheelchair, about something like that, it would be horrific and offensive. Like on the face of it, we'd know this. Horrible. Autism isn't even a disease, says Zebubala. Says Zebubala. You know, it's interesting because what we call a disease is complex. Yeah, like what do we even mean by a disease? I agree with you. I think it's not a disease. What would I say that it is instead? See, this is where the shit gets complex. And by the way, folks, please feel free to correct me if I say anything incorrect here. It's a neurodevelopmental condition. That's pretty good. Is alcoholism a disease? Well, see, now that's a whole other can of worms. My God. As someone who has quit drinking, but, you know, I don't know if I would call it that. Okay. So we know that autism speaks. What do we learn? Obama administration stopped turning the White House blue, but Trump administration started doing it again. That's one big thing we learned. Made a truly horrific PSA which compares autism to pediatric AIDS. Horrible. Okay. In response to an editorial about Steve Spielman in the Los Angeles Times, criticizing Autism Speaks. Autism Speaks needs to do a lot more listening. Oh, they formally assigned a high priority to research into the now discredited claim. Wow, they funded research on the thesis that vaccines cause autism. A prominent member of the Science Advisory Board for Autism Speaks resigned, citing his disagreement with efforts to study vaccines as a positive cause of autism. Wow. Funded research into vaccines as a cause of autism, causing a board member to resign. That's something. This is in Science. Can we view the full text? Probably we need to subscribe. Not a single autistic person serves on the board of Autism Speaks. That was fixed in 2016. Yeah, I saw that, but let's update that late when we get to it. Repeatedly refer to children on the spectrum as missing, as if they'd been kidnapped. The group's PR messaging has also reinforced the misconception that autism is a destroyer of marriages, though research shows that divorce rates are no higher for the parents of autistic kids. So that literally was about the idea that, like, having an autistic child would destroy the marriage of the parents? What the fuck? I'll copy paste that in. That's fucked up. Founded in 2005 at the height of parental anxiety about vaccines. Wow, okay. Hey, thank you for the cheer, Zach Prokowski. The DSM-5 merged autism and Asperger's into autism spectrum disorder. I feel that decision shoved two disparate groups of advocates, high-functioning folks with Asperger's and the parents of nonverbal kids with autism, together into the same bucket. It's messed up how autistic people get treated like a burden on their parents above all else by these folks. Absolutely agreed. Congratulations to your parents, Yatsuba fan. Although, hey, let's destigmatize divorce, by the way. Divorce is not a crime or a failure. Autism Speaks has posted cringe since their founding. My parents have 3 neurotypical kids, and they're divorced as fuck. Less than 2% of studies founded by the National Institutions of Health in 2010 were devoted to improving the lives of adults on the spectrum. The private funding allocated by groups similarly skewed. Yeah, we need to recognize the job of research isn't done until autistic people are actually seeing a benefit. Among the areas of research that are perpetually underfunded in the U.S. are ways of facilitating inclusive education, developing strategy for preparing autistic teenagers for the workforce, studying problems in sensory integration, helping autistic people live more independently in their communities, improving access to health care, reducing discrimination, and ending the abuse of autistic people as service providers. Yes. This is the guy's the author of Neurotribes. Yeah, I've heard of Neurotribes. I've not read this book. So, what he's saying is that we are devoting so much money to trying to cure this disease, when in fact we what if we spent that money reorganizing our society to some extent so that these folks were able to fully participate in it, right? Adam, if you ever get a chance, you should hit up some autistic self-advocated advocates who are lower functioning, nonverbal, or needing higher support. They're out there and they have more useful input than Wikipedia or any of the Asperger's people in this chat. Yeah, sure. I mean, please refer me to where is that? Okay, let's look back at this here. Oof. Autism Speaks' founder, Bob Wright, calls Singer's resignation disappointing and sad, and that it is possible that autism is caused by vaccines. Oof. Another one resigned in 2009. Wow, they perpetuated this. Wow. So I'm going to talk about beyond this, perpetuated the idea that vaccines could be the cause of autism far beyond what the evidence warranted. An anti-vax organization, it doesn't look like they still are an anti-vax organization, but it looks like they were for quite a while. Oh yeah, Wakefield's responsible for a lot of bad in the world. Okay, here we go. Autism Speaks sponsored and distributes the short film Autism Every Day. Here, instructed families not to do their hair, vacuum, or if therapist present appeared with their films without preliminary preparations or authentically. Wow, we're getting deep into this here. All right, let's not do too much research into individual people here. Looks like another shitty documentary, another shitty film. It is a nonprofit. Dragon Nest, my ex told me you don't know if vaccines are not responsible for autism. I'm not vaccinated and I don't have autism, but you are vaccinated and you do have it. The funny part is that he has Asperger's and didn't realize it's a form of autism. He says going on social media and looking at the actually autistic tag. That's a good one. We'll maybe do that another time. Compared to other autism-focused nonprofit organizations, Autism Speaks spends a smaller percentage of its revenue on furthering its mission. 70% is devoted to directly furthering its mission, compared to 79% and 91.5%. Spent $2.2 million on compensation. Yeah, that's a very high salary for a nonprofit. $436K? That's very high. Charity Navigator gave Autism Speaks a financial rating of 2 out of 4 stars. Now, I actually clicked on this the other day. No, that's not what I meant. Okay. Largest autism advocacy organization in the United States. Okay, let's go look at that Rational Wiki thing that you guys were talking about. Autism Speaks is the classic example why you have to beware of the term nonprofit. Oh, yeah. Only spent 70% of its revenue on its mission. 2 execs paid in excess of $400K a year. So this is a very Rational Wiki. Who like edits Rational Wiki? By the way, about Rational Wiki. Science, skepticism, and critical thinking. I usually find the info on Rational Wiki quite good. A brain in square brackets edits Rational Wiki. Yeah, right there. Rational Wiki is very editorialized, yeah. Vilification, dehumanization of autistic people. Their treatment of autism as a curable disease and their past flirtation with anti-vaxxers. Incredibly condescending and paternalistic. Focuses on the cause of autism. That's good. Focuses on ending the cause of autism rather than providing support and acceptance to autists. I saw someone use that phrase. Is that accepted language? Hey, thank you, learning there, buddy. Hey, folks, so let me say something. Oh, Zero Serenity, thank you so much. Oh, actually, K-Boss, thank you for gifting the sub to Zero Serenity. Really appreciate that. That's really awesome. Autistics. Is it autistics or autists? I'll just say autistic people. How about that? So, folks, let me say, I see a lot of stuff in the chat about, like, can we just not say Asperger's? Could we say, could we use this language or that language? Let me just say that I think it's good to have conversations about language. I think language matters. I also think that we can, when we're in a space where we're learning about I'm going to say controversial topic. This is a controversial topic. A lot of people have a lot of different feelings, and I see differences of opinion in the chat about the phrase Asperger's, about the DSM combining the thing, autism spectrum disorder versus this or that. And so we can disagree on language, but let's be kind to each other about it. And I don't think anybody is being unkind, but let's be kind and know that everybody in the chat is operating in good faith here. And that there can be differences in our feelings about which language is best. Adam Conover and the National Women's Hockey League are streaming at the same time. What do I do? That's really funny. Go check out the National Women's Hockey League. Seems great. So let's see. In 2016, it elected 2 autistic board members. Ironically, the same year co-founder, this person died. Suzanne Wright died. So yeah, this is a little bit weird language. Some see this as a sign of improvement. Obviously, they changed the superficial, and now that Autism Speaks will start treating da-da-da. However, most people are seeing the latter. So this is like, I'm like, this is poor editing. So I don't know if I trust this article. Because like, what does that mean? You know, you sort of, when I read Wikipedia or other wiki articles, I sort of am like judging like how complete does it feel, and that doesn't feel super complete. Whoa, thank you, K-Boss of the Void, for that sub gift as well. The last sentence is opinion. Yeah. Autism Speaks used to hold the view that immunizing children put them at risk of autism and committed a great deal of funding to prove it. Continue to spend money on researching the best possible connection despite evidence to the contrary, resulting in several resignations from frustrated board members. Its strategic plan for science included spending money on looking for a link between vaccines and autism. It promoted anti-vax celebrities like Jenny McCarthy. Woo! They promoted outspoken celebrities like Jenny McCarthy, whose vaccine claims appeared on the site with an unsupported statement that begins, despite research that says otherwise. Wow. Promoted anti-vaxxer Jenny McCarthy. Wow. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Everyone's like, set it on fire. Who's Jenny McCarthy? Well, let me tell you something. She was once the host of a little MTV show called Singled Out. Friends with Chris Hardwick, who's got his own fucking problems. And now she's one of the main celebrity promoters of the idea that vaccines cause autism. Autism Speaks has long claimed that autism frequently causes divorce, likely spreading the unscientific myth that 80% of families divorce, with autistic kids divorce. What the fuck? An oft-repeated claim holds that 80% of marriages with an autistic child end in divorce. Oprah said that, citing a study from Autism Speaks. That's really fucked up. That is really fucked up. That's really fucked up. That's really fucked up. The parents would say that about their kids? Oh, autism is bad because it'll make you get a divorce. What? Like, even if we were going to treat autism as a horrible disease that needed to be cured, it would be horribly offensive to say that. Like, what if you said that about people with Down syndrome, you know? Down syndrome, I think we can agree, very different from autism, right? People with Down syndrome, very valid, wonderful people, but it is a seriously disabling disorder, correct? They do say that about people with Down syndrome. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, I have a good friend with a kid with Down syndrome. Wonderful kid, happy marriage. Debilitating is maybe a word we could use. Why would you blame your kids? Yeah. From the WAPO article this year, Autism Speaks has chosen to embrace the aesthetics of neurodiversity without adopting its principles in any meaningful way. It wants to talk about inclusion and acceptance while continuing to fund and promote precisely the opposite, and doing it without acknowledging or crediting anything neurodiversity advocates have said or done for the past 30 years. They treat people with Down syndrome better than people with autism because you can see it. Meanwhile, autism very often is invisible. It's really revolting. Okay, so let's make this promoted the myth. Autism destroys 80% of marriages of parents with autistic children. That's really awful. It's really fucked up. Did anybody clip me saying that's really fucked up over and over again? It really does hurt my soul. Okay, so let's look at Washington Post Autism Speaks. That's from this year. Okay. The biggest autism advocacy group is still failing too many autism people. Autistic people. Autism Speaks celebrated its 50th anniversary this week with a colorful new logo. Is it going to let me read all this? Oh, good. I will be able to. Okay. To replace its traditional blue puzzle piece. What's this colorful new logo? Okay, now it's got multiple colors. Service including many diverse voices and acceptance of autistic people seem nice. Spent years promoting ideas and information that furthered stigma and misunderstanding about the condition. In 2009, Autism Speaks released an ad titled I Am Autism. Yeah, we saw that. Has run high-profile advertising and fundraising campaigns suggesting that autism is a malevolent force that afflicts families and makes parents miserable. Why would you focus on the parents so much? Like, that's just on the face of it really inhumane. The narratives about autism that Autism Speaks have put forth have defined and shaped autism in the public imagination. Partnered with Sesame Street to promote a toolkit for parents of newly diagnosed children that, among other things, compares autism to leukemia and suggests that mourning is a normal response to learning of an autism diagnosis. There's an entire section of the toolkit that walks parents through the Kubler-Ross stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Yeah, that's fucked up. Because parents, like, means they're mourning not having a normal kid, which means that what they're upset about is that their kid doesn't match their expectations of their kid. And even if your kid is not autistic, your kid is not going to meet your expectations. They're not going to do what you want. You know what I mean? My dad always wanted to play sports with me. I hated playing sports growing up. And what if he had been like, I'm in mourning because my kid doesn't want to play sports with me? Yeah, mourning, they're fucking alive. That's like comparing autism to a dead kid. Thank you very much. You put that much more bluntly than I did. I really appreciate that. Really good shit. Many parents must mourn the loss of some of their hopes and dreams they had for their child before they can move on. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Autism is neither degenerative nor a fatal condition. No one dies of autism. But the rhetoric made it sound as though a child had died. A little less than half of Autism Speaks' budget went to awareness campaigns and lobbying. Lobbied to kill an amendment to the Autism Cares Act that would have set benchmarks for the inclusion of autistic people in the research and policies that affect their own lives. Gives billions of dollars to provide our organization and nothing to autistic-led organization services or quality of life improvements. This is a time of growing acceptance to the concept of neurodiversity, the idea that natural differences rather than afflictions. So that is a good way to put it. Because disease, are you talking about, well, when we say disease, what do we mean? An affliction, we know that means something negative. And we know that autism doesn't need to be something negative. At the same time, more autistic adults have argued they need to be at the center of any policy making. Yeah. Since the 1990s, the symbol for neurodiversity has been an infinity symbol with a rainbow gradient for exactly that reason. But Autism Speaks does not acknowledge the connection in any of the materials it has released promoting its new, more inclusive look. Well, that's fucked up. Do you guys like this book, Neurotribes? I've always thought about reading it. Maybe I'll put it on my next audiobook list. Autism isn't a disease. If it was, I would have plagued the town. Yeah, no. I'm saying affliction is bad. Affliction is bad. And that we can say autism is not an affliction. Yeah. That is fucked up, Hunter Armstrong. Look at Autism Speaks' relationship with police departments. God, we've got such a wonderful chat. You folks are amazing. You're dropping such great information, and you're doing it so quickly. It's hard for me to keep up. It said it would use identity first language, saying autistic people instead of people with autism. I should cover this on my podcast. This is a great piece. Thank you for referring me to it. What else should we look at? Any good YouTube videos so we can watch? I'm convinced that this organization sucks ass. Shock therapy, my God. Whoa, thank you for the subs, Leandra13. Unbelievable. Thank you for gifting the subs. Really, thank you. I feel like we have successfully demonstrated these are not great people. I agree. Any good YouTube videos here you guys like? Let's see if we find anything good here. That's what I was looking for. The Horror of Autism Speaks.
When you see
this is too long. I have to go in a few minutes.
Organization name in the title of one of my videos, you can probably take an educated guess that I'm probably not going to be sharing their highlights. In fact, you'll find that I most likely will be highly critical of them. And there is no exception for today's video. Now, I know that many of you have asked me to look into the organization Autism Speaks, and I will admit, I didn't know that much about them.
This person's in the same position I am.
I have an assumption that they work to do something with autism, but I wasn't quite sure exactly what it was.
I really like their little
so
character with the
I started
triangle
to look
head.
into it, and I started to read things. And well, not much of it was good. As much as I dislike MLMs and how they target the weak and vulnerable, I dislike charities and nonprofits that parade themselves as helpful when in fact they are hurtful to the very causes they claim to stand up for. And well, since many of you brought this to my attention, here we are, taking a look at a company that claims to increase the understanding and acceptance of those on the spectrum, all while belittling those with it and sharing some rather dangerous mindsets. The bigger and more important question here is, can you actually give Autism Speaks your donations in good conscience? Let's find out in today's video.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Nice vibes.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Blair, or the Illuminati, and thanks so much for tuning into today's video. A look at some of their worst mistakes and how it actually hurts the cause they intend.
All right, this is a lot of stuff we've
and
already
timely
covered today.
Interventions, improving the transition to adulthood, and ensuring access to reliable information and services throughout the lifespan. And I'm assuming they mean the lifespan of someone with autism, but they do just end the bullet point just like that. But overall, it sounds like some pretty awesome goals, right? None of these things.
We're going through this a little slowly. Look, we got 15 minutes left. We got 13 minutes left. I got a jet in a second. We've been having a really great time. I really thank all of you for sharing all of the information with me that you have. 1.5 speed. What I would love is for you folks to let's have a chat in the chat. Please share more of your experiences and more what you've learned. Love that wise cats in my recommended videos. Yeah, I have like ad blocking on for YouTube, so it tends to not recommend me things. Have I heard of Temple Grandin? She's great. Do people like Temple Grandin? She's one of the first individuals on the autism spectrum to document the insights she gained from her personal experience of autism. I did see the documentary about her years ago. Been an outspoken proponent of the autism rights and neurodiversity movements. Awesome. As a 2-year-old child, the only formal diagnosis given to her was brain damage. Yeah, she's pretty cool. She's 73, yeah. Yeah, I saw a straight up Autism Speaks billboard with a Sesame Street character on it. This is a really informative stream. I'm autistic myself and knew the broad strokes of why AS sucked, but I had no idea it was this bad, for sure. Blow Manzer, thank you for the cheer. Check out the Judge Rotenberg Center. It's got a long history and contemporary example of the failures of our system. CBS did a report on them. Here's a 6-minute clip for later.
Tonight, we have a CBS News investigation into the use of electric shock to change harmful behaviors in children and adults with development disabilities, including autism. The method has been used for more than 20 years, and each case is approved by a state judge. But recently, the United Nations likened the method to torture, and now the FDA is considering a ban. The shock method is used in only one school, the private Judge Rotenberg Center near Boston. Anna Werner went inside to hear from those who support the method and from others, including former student Jennifer Masumba, who told the FDA that the school has gone too far.
How many times a day do you think you were shocked?
In the beginning, I was shocked every day.
Jennifer Masumba has autism. For 7 years, she lived here at the Judge Rotenberg Center in Massachusetts, where she wore a backpack like this one, sometimes 24 hours a day. Inside is a device attached to electrodes that deliver a shock whenever a staffer presses a button on a remote carried on their belt. The center claims it stops bad or aggressive behavior.
I felt like I was being punished for being born. That's what it
Wait,
feels
like a shock, like not like electroshock therapy, like just a little shock from like a thing on their belt? Oh my God. A portable shock machine? Yeah, this is fucked up.
I was being punished.
Part of Masumba's treatment plan was for staffers to draw up a list of prohibited behaviors, ranging from headbanging to hand movements, for which she could be shocked.
I would get like 5 or 10 shocks for just doing one thing.
What was that like?
That was like being under the ground in hell.
The center's use of electric shock came under scrutiny in 2012 after this videotape was presented in a court case. It showed 17-year-old Andre McCollins, seen here in the upper right-hand corner, tied to a restraint board by his arms and legs, then shocked 31 times.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry, everybody.
Andre is now 29. His mother, Cheryl McCollins, settled a lawsuit against the center, but says her son has suffered permanent damage.
Okay, let's stop watching this. I'm really sorry. That's really upsetting. I'm really sorry. Wow. Yeah, okay. Lot of really horrible treatment of autistic people. I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry that we had to hear that. Thank you for that clip. Woof. Any other thoughts to share, everybody? Anybody, anyone here in the chat who is on the autism spectrum disorder spectrum and wants to share an experience or a thought? As you're wrapping up, can we go back over what we learned? We absolutely can. Black autistic people are often seen as behaving worse or more violently. It contributes to police brutality of autistic black people as well. Yeah, awful. Speed Cubers is a good watch. Oh, yeah, the people who founded Autism Speaks are hugely, hugely rich. Well, look, thank you, everybody, for joining me. Look up Hans Asperger. Okay. The controversy has intensified since revelations that during the Nazi years, Asperger sent at least 2 disabled children to the Am Spiegelgrund clinic, knowing they would be the subject of cruel experiments and likely to be euthanized under the Nazi program named Postbellum Action T4. Okay, Nazi involvement. Wow. Sending children to the Spiegelgrund Clinic. He cooperated with the Nazi regime. Rewarded for affirmations of his loyalty with career opportunities. He joined several organizations. Okay, this guy is a Nazi. All right. Okay, so we could not use his name to refer to nice folks in our own community anymore. I'd be on board with this. Zandagoop says, I'm autistic and trans, and there's a prevailing idea that autistic people are just confused about their gender and can't be trans. The doctor that diagnosed me with autism said that I wasn't trans and it was just a symptom of autism. Almost 8 years later, and I'm still trans. Lol. Zandagoop, appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sorry that happened to you. You're valid, and I believe who you are. K-Jupe says, I used to have real issues in social situations, and I still do, but to a lesser extent. My mom was an absolute hero, trying to push me softly into situations that would be tough, but essentially beneficial. So she took you to a festival at 14. That's really cool, K-Jupe. Mugnick says, I'm autistic. Seriously, look up women's rights on the spectrum. We go vastly undiagnosed because we learn to mask at a very young age. High Pete 47 says, I respect everyone who takes pride in their autism, but it caused me more harm in my social life than good, so personally, I would love to get rid of it. A lot of, that's the thing about these things about ourselves. We can have differing feelings about them, you know? And I hope that you know, High Pete, I hope you still love yourself, and I hope you still know you're a valid person, you know, despite that, how you feel about yourself in that respect. And, you know, I'd hope you embrace that, you know, there's nothing wrong with you, High Pete. You know, you're a person like all of us. And, life is open to you as much as it's open to any of us. And if there's something that you want to do differently in your life, you can do it. So now I was scrolling up and I got to read the new scroll back. Women in masking is a huge and important topic. As an autistic woman, I was also passed up on diagnosis because I was able to make eye contact, aka I studied the correct timing and imitated it. That's why I was diagnosed later than my brother, and my parents thought I was faking it for attention for such a long time. Wow. TM Babe says, I know my neurodivergency has fucked me over repeatedly, but damn, almost everything I like about myself relates directly back to my ADHD. Hell yeah. 6 Foot Ant, thank you for the donation. Very kind to you. And thank you for the cheer, Zandagoop. And thank you for the cheer, Biomanzer. Did I thank Biomanzer yet? Adam, we're still learning about life with autism. Don't think you got a handle on it in one go. So look, I got to go in a minute. I've been having a wonderful time learning about this with you folks. I'm going to do it again tomorrow, 5 p.m. Will you folks join me? We're going to learn more about autism tomorrow. This has been really fun to research, especially because it affects so many people. So many wonderful of you folks in the chat. The brutal cycle, KL42 says, the brutal cycle of how being trans/non-binary is more common in autistic people, and then people's negative ideas about autism make them think that being trans is a disease. Is it the case that being trans and non-binary is more common in autistic people? Is that the case? The passerby, don't worry about the news report. It's okay. We all watched it together, and sometimes we have to watch difficult stuff, and I'm not going to try to stop people from, like we can watch difficult things here, but I was a little unsettled, as we should be. Everyone says there is research showing a connection, much higher rate. That's really interesting. I assume they don't have any reason for why, because these are both such complex things about people, but that's a really interesting link. Kudo the Dankness says, people do not believe that I'm autistic because I have a good memory. They assume I'm lying because I'm good at certain things. I hate it so much because I have problems doing quite a few things considered normal, like going to the store or remembering to eat, bathe, and sleep. Yeah, that can be difficult when people's expectations of you are different than your actual abilities. Check out the Actually Autistic hashtag on Twitter for discussions between autistic adults. I will. I think it's because gender is a construct, and we don't really see why we should conform to a random construct. That's a really interesting theory. Very good article on the spoiled brat label that many autistic kids get. Okay, folks, I got to run. I have a meeting. I got to get to a Zoomy meeting. I want to thank all of you for tuning in for this stream. I had a great time. We're going to learn more about autism and Autism Speaks tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do the math on the time zone yourself. Thank you so much for your subscription, for your donations. Does help me continue to do this. Please join our Discord below. If you donate or subscribe right now, I will say your name out loud. Raid the Drawfee Show. Yeah, we should do a raid, shouldn't we? Let's see. Who do we want to raid here? Actually, let me go back to my full screen cam here. Hey, Klutzy Dragon, thank you so much for subscribing. Really appreciate that. Very kind of you. You're awesome. Looks like Drawfee Show. Oh, Drawfee Show has too many people watching. We're not going to raid Drawfee Show. They got more people than us. We got to raid someone with a smaller audience. You've never enjoyed streams, but this has been a great one. Learning and helping people learn is great. I absolutely agree. Thank you so much. Whoa! Sennacherib of Flight. Sennacherib Flight. Sennacherib Flight gifted 10 subs. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. Give it up. Give it up for Sennacherib Flight. Unbelievable. Pronunciation skills unrivaled. Okay, let's yeah, let's raid Shy Lost Confused. I like that idea. Shy Lost Confused is playing some Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. That seems like fun. And chatting. Here we go. So we're going to go raid that stream. Thank you so much for Sennacherib Flight. I got to run. Have a good one. Whoa, Leandra! You gifted us up to Sennacherib Flight. We got so many wonderful gifters here. Incredible. We got a hype train going. Oh, but I got to go to my meeting. Why is the hype train like orange today? Had to do it. Had to do it. We're at level 4 of the hype train already. Sennacherib Flight. Drunk Xena subscribed. Oh my God, folks, are we trying to do the hype train right now? If you guys want to get to the top of the hype train, I will stick around for a second while you do it. I swear to God, I will. I swear to God, I will. Drunk Xena, thank you so much for the subscription. If you want to try to get to level 5, go to my meeting, doof. Okay, great. Let's just go then. All right, raid. Shy Lost Confused. Here we go. We're gonna raid. Oh, Morgue Page subscribed. Thank you, Morgue Page, for subscribing. Thank you, Morgue Page. I've got a fucking Zoom meeting I gotta go to. Okay. Here we go. We're raiding. We're raiding. Here goes a raid. We're gonna do it now. We're gonna do it now. Everybody go over there. Everybody go over there. We're all gonna go together. And a couple more people get on board. Come on, get on board, everybody. Get on board with the raid. Have a good one. Okay, goodbye, folks.